Hello, everyone. Back in the midst of 1950s, there was a family consisting of a mother and 12 children, and they were destined to be one of the thousands of families whose homes and lands were plundered. So she used a car to carry her things and go to Tyre in Lebanon, and get her and her children in and travel before the massacre would happen. As soon as the car arrived, the mother noticed a missing child. They started searching for hours and hours until they found her hiding under the stairs, holding onto it with both hands and refusing to leave the house and walk away. 2 decades later, on the age of 25, this girl became the reason the occupation forces didn't sleep at night, and the whole world was talking about her, the Iron Woman Layla Khalid. The action that Layla Khalid did can be categorized as a resistance movement where people or individuals try to resist the government or an occupying power. Also, it can be categorized as commando action or another term, amal fidai, where it is a term used to refer to various groups willing to sacrifice themselves for the sake of an issue. Uh, this topic, uh, this topic is critical to us because we live in an Arab world where land oppressors, invasions, murderers, and occupiers are on the run. However, another school of thought believe that peace is the key for wars, where negotiations may take place and satisfy all sides of the concerned conflict, which is logical, and there will be less humanitarian losses. Thus, I believe that standing against the suppressors through commando actions and the resistance movement is really important for the press. To start with, the resistance project was launched in Beirut in 1982 by only a few men who were frustrated by how the people under Israeli occupation were left to meet their fate by the occupiers. Not with words, but with solid actions, iron lead, these men decided to stand their ground and fight. The oldest of these men hadn't reached their 30s. These young and crazy men ended up changing the fate of Lebanon and the region for good. The resistance had employed multiple tactics from ambushes to anti tank guided missiles or mining the roads taken by Israeli patrols. Their foe was not only the Israeli occupation forces, there were also militia under the name of the South Lebanon Army, the SLA, whom the Israeli used as cannon fodder to man the front outposts with the hope of mitigating their losses. The resistance professional use of mines resulted in the killing of Ares Gulistan in 1999, the top Israeli commander in Lebanon at the time. One of the most significant victories for the resistance, both on the intelligence and tactical levels, was 1997 ambush of 16 Navy commander near the coastal town of Ansariya, which resulted in the death of 12 Israeli soldiers. The war was long and consuming for the Israelis, and not only the military was suffering, the Israeli society as a whole was crumbling underneath the weight of losses in Lebanon. As a result, the last Israeli soldier left Lebanese soil, except for Shiba and Atletic Farshuba in 2000, and the long-awaited relief of the Lebanese people from their suffering ended. Moreover, many commando actions took place back then, and one of them is Suhab Shara's operation. Suhab Shara joined the resistance in 1986 in Lebanon. She started the task of assassinating Lahad. Antoine Lahad was the one who would carry on Israelis' missions in Lebanon and was the member of the SLA. Consequently, she familiarized herself with Lahad's family as an Arabics instructor. On the evening of the operation, 17 November 1988, Lahad's wife invited Shara for tea. Shara accepted the invitation and stayed until Lahad's arrival. As she was packing her belongings and leaving, shot Lahad twice and then threw the gun away before his bodyguards arrested her. Shara was detained by the security guards in the house, taken to Israel briefly, where she was integrated and beaten. She was then taken to Khiam prison for 10 years without being charged. She suffered electric shock torture and 6 years of solitary confinement in a tiny cell. On the other hand, some people would look onto this action as murder. They would think that why won't he be given to the government, questioned, and taken the accurate and right measurements in him? Why in a specific party would take the government's role in judging? That is really a great and right way of thinking. But but when the government is also onto the treasury, then they won't be fair enough for those people who really need their land and for their own, and their decisions for their qualified politicians to take. Layla Khalid, that I mentioned before in the introduction, on August 29, 1969, Khalid was part of a team that hijacked flight on the way from Rome to Tel Aviv, uh, diverting the route to Damascus because they thought an Israeli ambassador going to the U.S. would be on board. Also she did other hijacking and got arrested, but those hijackings resulted in the motive for people to face the oppressors, uh, for the oppressors to be for the oppressors, and they can do anything for their homeland to be a to be a free land. As Arab citizens, our duty is to prepare to offer real support, practical and tangible support to the resistance movement, to ask all these Arab governments to offer tangible and effective support so that the resistance movement is capable of fulfilling all of its requirements so that it can be so it can persist despite these conspiracies. It's no longer required of the Arab people to offer sympathy and emotional support only. It's become required of the Arab people to mobilize themselves and organize their potentials and ask the government to retaliate against all the conspiracies. As Guevara said, we have no right to believe that freedom can be won without struggle, and it's better to die standing than to live on your knees. Please hail Suhab Shara, Habib Shartouni, George Abdullah, and Leila Khalid, and Mahdi Hamid. Thank you.